How do you bite the hand that fed you or is still feeding you? I say this because of the many comments I have gotten so far. Whilst I understand where some of them are coming from, I still feel I need to address or clarify some things. So many people have their reasons of wanting to live where they are in the diaspora back to the motherland, back to Nigeria. There's something I want us to remember. You've lived there for so many years, some of you more than 10 years. For one reason or the other, you decided that you want to leave. You decided that you want to leave back to Nigeria. Correct me if I'm wrong. In my opinion, I don't think that automatically makes the UK a bad place because you decided to come back to Nigeria. The issue here is that the UK is not like how it used to be 10, 15, 20, even 30 years ago. The same goes for Nigeria. The Nigeria of 2 years ago, 3 years ago is not even the Nigeria of today. That's how quickly things can change. I think this whole thing depends on the why you're living where you are back to Nigeria. Some people will tell you the system, they can't stand the system anymore. Some will tell you they can't stand the work culture. They can't stand that you have to be politically correct in everything you say. They can't cope with the cost of living anymore. My children are all grown now and I want to retire back in Nigeria. Some will tell you, oh, it's more for the children, you know, bring them to Nigeria so that they can learn the Nigerian culture and learn more of their heritage. So many of us have our reasons for making this journey back home. So what I want to point out in this whole thing is I don't think it's fair to suddenly make that place you were living for years. In my own case, I lived there for 15 years. I would always use the UK as a reference because that was where I lived. Most part of my adult life were in the UK. I've got 4 children. My first child is 15 and she was born there. I gave birth to all my children in the UK. They schooled in the UK. I had my first financial freedom, if you like, in the UK. I bought my first house in the UK. So many good things happened to me in the UK and are still happening to me as we speak. It was a good run whilst I was there. And I'm sure this is the same case for many of us. I've got so many new subscribers recently. Most of them, I don't think they know my story. I will leave the link of the video where I explain my reasons for, coming back to Nigeria. I will leave it in the description box. This will give you a background of what I'm talking about. The point of this video is just to make us aware of the many benefits we received whilst we're in the diaspora. There's so many good things in the UK, like the free education, the NHS and the welfare system. Although technically when it comes to the NHS service and education, for those of us that are working, which most of us are, technically we paid for these services but not necessarily feeling it directly when it comes to payment of the service. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, and that does not change the fact that at some point in one's life, in this case my life, I decided to come back to Nigeria to spend more time with family here. And that does not mean I can't travel to the UK or any part of the world if I choose to. I don't know what would have led some of you to say, okay, you want to come back to Nigeria. But whatever the reason is, I respect the reason. I respect your decisions. Sometimes when I read comments, you can just feel the passion in the person's writing. And you can tell this person is hard enough and they just want to come back to Nigeria. I'm sure it would be a different case 10, 15 years ago for most of us. I'm very sure the situation would have been different then. And for the fact that you've spent that long in the diaspora, there's every possibility that you've made some lifelong friendships there in the diaspora. I believe there are so many good things that have happened to us whilst we are in the diaspora. And most of us are saying we want to come back to Nigeria. How do you make the journey back to Nigeria? You do not make that journey with sand. You do not make it with water. You make the journey with money. And how did you get that money? You got it whilst you were living in the diaspora. So yeah, it's just to put this into perspective, to channel our reasons accordingly. So yeah, there are so many good things that have happened in the diaspora where we lived for that long. I want us to see this way, that we've grown. Let me take myself as an example. For me, I know the infrastructure is way better in the UK than what I get here in Nigeria. But there comes a time in your life where those things won't matter anymore. You just want something else for yourself and for your family. You want to experience more than just infrastructure. So there comes a time in your life when that will be your case, and you just want to live where you are to somewhere else. In my own case, Nigeria. Sometimes when I read the comments, it just sounds like these people don't even want to step their foot to the country where they left. And I know that's not the case for many of us. For most of us, our lives were living testimonies whilst we were in the diaspora. Most of us left Nigeria at our lowest, and we started living life in the way we'd never imagined we would ever live. You know, we started saying things, we started enjoying good infrastructure, we started enjoying good health care. Some of us went on to start our families. You know, the children are all grown and doing well for themselves. You know, we can count so many things that we've enjoyed in the diaspora. And this whole thing is not just about, you know, shutting that door and saying, that's it. You cannot tell me in all your 30 years in the diaspora, or in all your 20 years in the diaspora, or in my own case, in all my 15 years in diaspora, that it was that bad. And that will not be fair to say. That will be you not being truthful to yourself. Some of us ended up doing the jobs that we don't like, but at the end of the day, it was putting food on the table. We were able to pay our bills. We were able to save. We were able to, you know, do things back home that we are coming back to enjoy. I need us to understand that without the diaspora, without us living the diaspora, some of us, if not most of us, wouldn't have gotten this far in life. The point here is the diaspora has done us so well when it comes to experience that we've gotten, when it comes to the experience that we've gotten, the exposure, generally the life that we lived there wasn't all that bad. I understand at some point, especially lately, things have gotten so bad lately, and it's not looking like it's getting any better, especially after the pandemic. So yeah, this is not me undermining your reality whilst in the diaspora or your experience whilst in the diaspora. There's so many horrible things that have happened to people when it comes to living in the diaspora, ranging from bullying to racism. There's so many horrible things that have happened to people that is making them, you know, have a rethink. I want to make this journey back home, because back here in Nigeria, you are free as a bird to do anything. When I say everything, I'm not including crimes to it. So yeah, so many reasons would have led people to say, okay, this is it, I'm coming back to Nigeria. But at the same time, let's not forget all the wonderful things that have happened to us whilst we were in the diaspora. As we're coming back to the motherland, it is time to bring in all those wonderful experience, all those skills, all those amazing mindsets, all those expertise that we've gained in the diaspora. It's time to utilize it whilst you're here. You're coming back to Nigeria. It's not just to come and show off, because that's what some people do. They come in, they have their house, they have their cars, you know, they're living life and oppressing people. But it's not the point. Let's not forget that we owe it to Nigeria to be that change. We owe it to Nigeria to bring that change. So you cannot just come back from the diaspora down to Nigeria and you expect to live life as if the enjoyment is only for you and your family. You need to give back. This is time to give back. This is time to make positive impacts in people's life. The people, start with the people around you. You do not have to go far. Just look around you. There must be one or two people you can start from. There's so many ways to help people in our immediate community. You can start up a charity, depending on your passion or calling when it comes to the areas that you want to focus on. It can be children, it can be healthcare, it can be caring for the widows, it can be empowering the youth, it can be empowering women, it can be, there's so many ways to, make positive impact whilst you're here in Nigeria. Let's not just be carried away with the whole I just go back vibes and you just here and living as if the whole world revolve around you. I know what I'm talking about. I have seen it. After everything, after the life in the diaspora, people still have this same mindset of, I pass my neighbor, as if this whole thing is about competition. Who drives the most expensive car, who lives in a bungalow, who lives in a duplex, who live in a mansion. This whole thing is not about all the material things you've achieved. It's about making positive impact in people's life whilst you return to Nigeria. I will stop here for now. I hope you found this video interesting and useful. I will come again with another interesting one. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.